he's number one. Is it?
And now people are gonna say I'm crazy. People are gonna say I'm just doing this just because he had a bunch of points.
Oh,
And my number one is Karl Malone. Now, granted, the reason being Karl Malone is because I think if it wasn't for Karl Malone, we don't see LeBron.
mm,
The reason being I say that is because he was really one of the first, literally big, muscular human beings we've seen to play the game of basketball and run the way he did, get up and down the court the way he did. And he didn't handle the ball as far as like have it on a string, but he could at least dribble up and down the court. And that was literally a freight train. Freight train. No one's going to stop him going to the hole. He's either going to get a charge or he's going to dunk it on you. One of those two. He's going to finish.
mm-hmm.
And I guess people could say, oh, we had John Stockton, one of the all-time leading assists, like one of them. Okay, cool. But he still has to put the ball in the basket. And you don't get that way just from a bunch of assists.
Right.
And I think Karl Malone's game as an individual was crazy. And like we always say, what if Jordan would have had a three? What if Karl Malone would have had a three? I think we're talking about a totally different person. And I don't put the stigma as far as like him not winning a championship up there. The only reason being is because it is a team sport. He did give it his all. He was an MVP one of the years.
I think he won two.
Was it two?
Yeah. I mean, like, I got the accolades. I can pull those up, but
two-time MVP. My bad for not knowing that. But
it just adds to the argument, though. You know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely, and especially in an era where Michael Jordan could have won multiple, more than 5.
Right.
But no, and I think his skill set today, I don't think for how big he was, and if you put him in today's era, we talk about all these players averaging 40 or something that in the past, if they were in today's game. If we're going to say that about those players, like Paul Pierce says he would average 40, all this and that, what do you think Karl Malone would average? He's just too big, too powerful. I would say he would be Shaq in this era if he was put in this, for how big and dominant he was. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. And that's just how I feel about the game. I think he did revolutionize a lot of these players. Like no one would be able to stop him for how big and strong he was. But that's where I stand.
Well, yeah, no, let's break that 5 down a little bit. Obviously similar lists. Our only difference was Barkley and McHale at 4. With Karl Malone, and we'll talk about KG a little later. Because I'm not letting that go. But with Karl, I think you bring up a good point. I think he was pound for pound one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, obviously. Similar to Dirk offensively, I don't think he was extremely hard to guard one-on-one in an era where you could hand check, where there was defensive 3 seconds for, many years of his career. And I personally do knock him, like, his total career down a little bit because of he did have John Stockton as a 1-2 punch his whole career, basically. And then Jerry Sloan and being in a good system. He just happened to be in the Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon era. But Dennis Rodman couldn't really guard him one-on-one. He still got his numbers when so he dominated in an era where it was extremely hard to dominate with power. So in this era, I would compare, like, Shaq likes to compare himself to, like, he's Giannis. If Shaq was in this era, he's Giannis, but bigger and stronger. That's what Shaq said. I think Karl Malone is a mix between LeBron and Giannis. Karl had and Dirk, like he's a fascinating player because of his brute strength, his defensive ability, his the way he could score. He had that little midi pull up, and like you said, he's a freight train going to the rim, and would finish on dudes, and then would hit free throws. Longevity plays a big part in career accolades. With the MVPs, in the Western Conference, finals, getting to the finals. extremely productive career, and then obviously being on the all-time scoring list helps. But why I can't put him above KG and Tim Duncan, which is I'm going out on a limb saying KG's better than Tim Duncan. You're really going far out on a limb by saying Karl Malone's better than both of them. Because Tim Duncan's basically the consensus number one power forward ever,
Yeah.
regardless if we agree with that or not. And we're obviously all these dudes on this list. We're not saying any of them are bums. That's not this episode.